Hi everyone. I'm going to show you the new Azure Functions tooling for Visual Studio 2017 that will provide you and your team the best support for creating, deploying, and monitoring serverless solution. So my team and I have created a website for customers to upload CAT product reviews, including a picture and a comment. We want to automate the moderation of those reviews, so we created this function here using Azure Functions. By using Azure Functions, I don't have to maintain a separate server. The platform is going to scale out automatically based on the workload, and I just pay per execution. And with our great Visual Studio tooling, you can be super productive in this new compute model. First thing you notice is that we have a file new experience here for creating an Azure function. Or if you already have an Azure function project, you can just right-click, add class, and create your function from there. That will let you configure the triggers and the details for the trigger as well. So let me show you the one we've created already. Our new tooling is based on .NET Class Library. So this means you get full support of Visual Studio features like IntelliSense, debugging, and more. I can also take advantage of some new things in Visual Studio 2017, like live unit testing. You saw I changed the code just before, and it reran my unit tests here as well, right in the editor. Also new is that you can use attributes in your function model declaration. So you can declare what method is going to be your function and what is going to be the trigger and what are the bindings that you have. So in this case, our function is going to get triggered from a message getting dropped into an Azure storage queue trigger, and we'll have connections to get a blob from blob storage and get document from a document database as well. My function right now is only reviewing the text of our product review. So by calling out to the text moderation on our Microsoft Cognitive Services. But I would like to moderate the image itself so that it's safe and contains a picture of a cat. So let me add the code for that. I'm going to replace these two lines here. And basically now I'm calling the image moderation cognitive service as well. And it's only going to get, this review is only going to get approved if the content moderation came back saying that it contains a cat and the text of the review also passes. And then we're going to update document.db with the value. So that's what our function is going to do. So now that my code changes are done, I'm just going to set a breakpoint here, and we can debug it locally, which is one of my favorite features of this new model here. So I'm just going to start a new instance of my function locally, and this is basically going to trigger the Azure Function CLI and start hosting my function locally, while still listening in on that queue for any messages. So if I go to my website here, I can add a new picture of a cat. Oh, but that's a dog. Okay, let's send it through and see what happened. Okay, gonna create the review. Okay, so we hit the breakpoint. I'm gonna continue on a little bit more here, and you can see that the text has passed fine. I didn't write anything strange there, but the image itself is false. It doesn't contain a cat. So if I continue here, this function should have updated document.db with the results of the review. So I'll refresh my website here, and we can see that it says it's a brown white dog and the status was rejected. Okay, so let's go back to the code, and it looks like my live unit tests are still passing, which is great. So we can now publish and deploy an update of the site to Azure. The easiest way to do it is to just right-click on our function project and select publish. And you see that the Azure Function app is right there. You can create a new one if you don't have one, or select existing from your Azure subscription. But my team and I are leveraging one of the best tools for teams to implement continuous delivery of any code to Azure, which is Visual Studio Team Services. So let's kick off the Visual Studio Team Services flow with this. Without even leaving my environment, I can just right click and commit these changes. I'm going to say adding image review to. Going to commit those and push my changes. to the server. What this is going to do is it's going to trigger an existing continuous integration pipeline that our team created in VSTS to build and test my changes. And if that's successful, I can submit a pull request here in Visual Studio or in VSTS and let my function code get reviewed by the team. And once it's merged, it'll be deployed by VSTS to test and eventually production environments. So another cool thing is from here, from inside Visual Studio, I can go to builds and see the builds for my code. I had a couple of failed one, a successful one, and then now this one is a new one that got triggered by our change. So if I open this, I'll be taken to VSTS where I can see the status of my build. It looks like it's almost finishing and everything seems to be building successful, which is exactly what I expected. Now that I have my updated function running and built by VSTS and then eventually going to be deployed to Azure, I want to learn a little bit more about how my application is behaving. So here on the Azure portal, I've created this custom dashboard just with the reviews about my specific implementation. I have an application map with the website details of everything that's going through it. I have an overview timeline there, but I also have here a custom view of the reviews, so I can straight away tell that most of the images are failing, 3 of them, one passed, one failed text and image, and one failed just text. I can drill a little bit deeper into this as well if I want to by going into the App Insights Analytics portal. And here I can have a look at individual requests if I want to, and I can even look at different render modes. So with this, I can export this data to a custom dashboard if I like, or I can also use this as a source in Power BI for more advanced graphs. So with Azure Functions, Visual Studio Team Services, and Application Insights, you and your team have the best tooling for creating, deploying, and monitoring serverless solution. Now go install Azure Functions support for Visual Studio and create your serverless solution. Thank you.